Thank you, Tom. Can you all hear me okay? My wife says yes. My wife's with me here today. We do this together, so I appreciate her showing up. I'm going to take off a little bit from where Dennis started and kind of listing all the things that we've got going on in the country that seem to be a mess. I'll do it quickly because we're living it and we don't need to go over it too much. But never before in the history of the United States, and I am a history major and I taught school for a little bit, have we had this many indicators and factors coming together at one time. And the crosshairs, in other words, the XY axis of some of these are totally different than we've ever had before. I mean, just a quick example of that would be the stock market goes down and went down over 1,400 points from July to September, and gold went down too. If you're in the financial world, that is unique. That normally doesn't happen. So some weird stuff is happening, and Dennis's book is a great book. I've been over there thumbing through it. He's got a great section on the issue I'm going to talk about tonight. So who are we as Americans is really the call tonight, and we're going to kind of go through that. So with these factors, we have 9/11, 2001, first time ever an attack on our homeland, greatest depression or recession since the 1930s, 2008. We have racial strife. All you do is pick up the paper and it's Ferguson, Baltimore, all of that. That is just a mess. It's like back in the 60s again. We have the largest number of people on government subsistence. So you get welfare, Social Security, food stamps. We have over 90 million people out of work. They say the unemployment is 6.7. If you count the people that aren't looking for a job, it's like 14%. We have 12 million illegal aliens in this country. That number is the number they took in 2008. I'm going to tell you a statistic a little later about the total number that's come in the last 30 years, and it's 3 times that. And they're still coming, obviously. Sanctuary cities, that could be a night of discussion in itself. How in the world can we create safe havens for criminals and see what happened, like in San Francisco, with that wonderful girl named Kate. And thank you, Bill O'Reilly, for attempting to try to get Kate's Law through the Congress. So let's talk about the debt. We'll go back to financial. We're going to be $19 trillion before the election. So just write that number down. So when you get out your ballot, figure you got to vote for somebody, and we have $19 trillion in debt. But that's the tip of the iceberg. The unfunded liability, in other words, the money we will need to spend, and all of us in this room, if I said, raise your hand if you're on Social Security, we'd all walk out because we're all on it, right? So you got Social Security, welfare stamps, you got our welfare, subsistence, all the government programs. That unfunded liability today going forward is $127 trillion. So try to throw those zeros over to the right, and it just goes right off the page. So wage and job growth is stagnant. We talked about that. Interest rates are 0. So they keep playing this game. We're going to raise interest rates. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. They're worried that if they raise interest rates 0.25%, that it might hurt the economy. So is that telling you the economy is stable and really doing well? That shows you how fragile it is. And if they raise interest rates, and it slows down the economy, are they going to then pump money into the economy again, like they did with quantitative easing 1, 2, and 3, and TARP, where they basically just printed money that we didn't have? And so what is that going to do? It's going to devalue the dollar. So I'm getting off on a tangent, but I'm giving you the list of all the stuff that's in Dennis's book, basically, and that's why we're in a mess. And then education. Okay, so who runs the schools? Wendy Lees could do a whole testimonial that the unions run the schools. Teachers don't run it, or teachers and the unions run it. Parents and students are secondary. It's all about the teachers. We love our teachers, but why do they need a union? Why don't we have a parents' union? Wouldn't that be novel? Get a union for the parents so we can go down and raise hell at the school board and have a say and not be in a position where we'll just strike and your school gets shut down. So education system's a mess. So let's go to Europe. Europe's a mess. Immigration, you can just see the chart. Everybody from the Middle East is immigrating into Europe. In England now, they have some cities that honor Sharia law, not English law. That's a mess. Look at Greece. Germany had to bail out Greece, so this is kind of like that deal when you raised your kids and they were in college and they ran out of money on the credit card. They called you and said, I'm going to lose the apartment and get thrown out of school. I need more money. So you get, okay, I'll help you out. That's exactly what Germany did to Greece. We got a spoiled kid in college who needs more money. That's Greece. But they don't want to do an austerity plan because it's too tough on them. So that's coming possibly to Portugal, Spain, maybe Ireland next. And then let's just throw in the Middle East. I haven't even talked about the Middle East yet. And of course, Dennis does it in his book as well. So we got a Middle East on fire. We're just going to sit back and watch, it looks like. And there's some people say, why do we need to get into another war? Well, what's going on there is an atrocity. It's a caliphate. Don't let it kid you, and don't think that the Sunnis and the Shiites one day will not march in the same line. They're all Muslims, okay? And if they're terrorists, they can get over their differences very quickly. So that's a mess. So how do we survive all this? And how does this relate to my topic tonight, which is life? I'll get there. Yeah, it's about standing for principles and who we are as a people. So we have a government that was founded, and we all know the stories of our founding fathers. But what happens to countries when they start to have these kind of issues is they fail from within. If you've done any study of Gibbon's 2 volumes, they're a real slug, small print, takes forever, of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. We're in the middle of it. And Rome did not fall from an outside aggressor. It wasn't the Gauls or someone from the north that invaded them. Eventually it was. It was a decay from within. Their cultural morals and their whole fiber of their country imploded from inside. They lost their identity. Declining countries capitulate to cultural evolution, and that's what's happening in this country. Look at the marriage situation and a breakdown of doctrines and principles that we were founded on. It first takes place with the erosion of cultural norms, and then our attitudes change, and then in the name of inclusiveness and tolerance, we start putting up with it, and we go, it's okay. I know I didn't really like it, but we'll just kind of cave into that one. And so it's a little bit like, back to the parent deal, you got the 10th grader out, home at 10 o'clock, calls at 9:45, can I stay out another half hour? Please, Dad, please, Dad. Oh, okay. You know what? We set a rule. I said 10 o'clock, you're coming home at 10 o'clock. Dare to discipline, right? Dobson's book, famous book. We don't discipline ourselves. We have an undisciplined country right now. So, as I mentioned, we have fabric erosion in areas like France where they close down streets for noonday prayers for Muslims. England's got Sharia law. Do you know that in Detroit, Houston, in our own Orange County city of Anaheim, city councils were pressured to change street names to Muslim names, okay? And thank God for Anaheim, they outvoted that, but they were close to voting in some Muslim names and actually changed street names to Muslim names. So for us, the big 3, and I call it the Oreo sandwich, you got a cookie on each side and icing in the middle, and unfortunately that's the best I can say about it. What happened in 1962 in this country? Removal of school prayer. We threw the prayer out of schools. Then just 11 years later, we really took the big step, and this is the one in the middle, and I'm going to talk about it. 1973, Roe versus Wade, we decided that you could kill a baby in the womb all the way up to late term, and now 177 congressmen voted 2 weeks ago to approve infanticide. And in case you don't know what that is, if they do a botched abortion and it doesn't work and the baby is still alive, they put the baby on a gurney and they put it out in the hallway to die. They will not save that child. 177 of our representatives in this country of the free and the brave decided that we're not going to protect that baby. And then the big coup de grace happened this summer. Jeopardy question for you all. We bailed on marriage, right? So marriage is now between a truck and a dog or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's going to change. It's just not going to be between a man and a woman and a woman. It's the next thing you know, it already happened in Utah where they decided to try to have 2 women and 1 man. They went into an office to apply for a marriage license. It didn't happen, but it's coming. So anyway, there's the potpourri of what we're looking at. And so how does this tie to the life issue? In Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 9, now choose life so that you and your children may live and that you may love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast to him. We've gotten away from what this country was founded on, which is godly principles. The genesis of our culture, the thing we call America, all comes down to life. You can have issues about immigration, IRS, Benghazi, they're all important. But if we don't value life, we don't have a foundational country. And remember, in the Declaration of Independence, that famous line we all like to quote, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What's the number one thing they mention? It's life. They didn't say pursuit of happiness, liberty, and life. Life comes first. Life is the most important thing. And a little sidebar to that, the Declaration of Independence was what they called the billet. It was a pamphlet, or just a big sheet of paper. Actually, a Dunlap descendant printed it, John Dunlap in Philadelphia. Sidebar. But anyway, so what did they do? They posted that around town, and a group went over and hung it on the British embassy. They snuck over there and put it on the door. Now, a lot of people go, why didn't they incorporate the Declaration of Independence into the Constitution? The answer, John Eastman, who you all know, answered this for me, because, Bill, the Constitution can be amended. You can't amend the Declaration of Independence. It will stand forever as it is. We have how many amendments to the Constitution, and they keep wrestling with different ways to change that document. The Declaration of Independence is sacred. It is our document forever. So we all say we're appalled, what's going on. Are we truly the shining city on the hill? Like Reagan said, the home of the brave and the free, a nation under God with freedom and justice for all. How about these babies that we're talking about tonight? What's happened to them? So, since 1973, 56 million human beings are no longer with us because basically 5 judges, it was a 5-4 decision, and I call them unelected lawyers, I don't call them judges, decided for us that we would begin killing babies in 1973. We lose 3,600 babies a day in this country. 3,600 a day. 9/11 was almost 3,000 people. ISIS is now killed in the Middle East. I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 people that we know about. Christians, Jews, and other Muslims. It's horrific. The videos of those decapitations is horrific. We're doing that in this country every day under a law we passed. They're doing it under an insane interpretation of their religious document, the Quran. What's worse? We passed the law, you guys. We're right there. We're right there. So, it's pretty horrific. So in the last 40 years, if you count the number of people that have come into this country, we have close to almost 40 million people, 700,000 people a year, and it was much greater in the early years because it was just happening, right? Before Reagan, it was just coming in, and now we've got a little more restriction. Actually, the numbers are down, but roughly 40 million people in 43 years have come into this nation illegally. We give them citizenship, we give them driver's license, we give them an education, food stamps. Obama gets them to vote for them. And what did we do? We had 56 million babies that could have been citizens who were United States citizens. They didn't come in here illegally, they were here legally. And what did we do? We said goodbye to them. We threw them out the door. They're in some dumpster. So we need to think about that in our heart. I'm not here to be condemning. It's an issue we need to deal with going forward. We can't look back. We could just get better going forward. So anyway, in Chicago, this whole thing of life. So in Chicago, the highest murder rate in the United States, 414 murders in 1 year, okay? Toughest gun laws in the United States. We have become so desensitized to death and to murder, thanks to TV and the internet, that we no longer understand what life means. It becomes less valuable. So how do we get upset at the kid, a teenager, somewhat uneducated, who does a drive-by shooting and kills some innocent girl on a front porch because he was trying to get one of his faux gang members to take him down, and yet he opens up the paper and says, oh, another 3,600 babies were killed today in abortion clinics. Well, I just shot somebody. You guys are killing them in the womb. What the heck's the difference? Come on. Look at the quid pro quo there. So Now the candle's really burning. On Monday, does everybody know what happened with our lovely Governor Brown? Governor Brown passed the assisted suicide bill. So if you look at life as a candle, holding it horizontally, and we've got the candle lit on one end, which is the abortion issue, and it's burning because we keep killing babies. Governor Brown just lit the other end of the candle, and it's going towards the middle now. That wax is going to be gone. What is the next group of human beings that will be decided, you know what, we really don't want those people over 65 because they're taking Social Security. Maybe we ought to just kind of put them off to the side and get down to that hardcore group in the middle that pays taxes, not a problem on the medical services. That's the group we want to survive. It's coming, you guys. I mean, because I'm telling you it is because it's happening. So the thing I thought, this is a little sarcasm, sick, but you'll like it. So Governor Brown passes the suicide bill. We have a drought in California. Guess what? We'll get more water now because people will be dying that won't be drinking water, right? So we'll get more water. I mean, the drought could go away if enough people commit suicide, right? We'll have plenty of water. All right, so beside our benign support for abortion, and I say that because it's hard to fight something that's law. We do this every weekend. We go to abortion clinics and do prayer vigils, but it's tough. It's benign and nonviolent because that's the way we want to do it. But unfortunately, what else do? We support it with our taxes. $500 million a year. It was $1 million a day. It's gone up now. It's $500 million a day annually to just Planned Parenthood. They have 700 clinics, and they perform themselves 900 abortions a day themselves. Now remember, abortion is legal, so it's done in hospitals, other clinics, doctors' offices. Anybody that's got a license can try to go do one because it's the law. So what do we do about this? Well, the point we want to try to stop is the money part of it. The reason we're trying to cut the funding off to Planned Parenthood and the body parts is horrendous is the fact that a big chunk of that money goes to lobbying. And what do? They go lobby congressmen, help them in their elections, and it's quid pro quo again. You vote for me, I'll fund you. So they support a congressman, he gets into office, it comes up for a revote on Planned Parenthood like it is right now. We're trying to stop it in the Congress, and you have all these squishy Democrats that just got $100,000 for their campaign. They can't say no to Planned Parenthood. They're being supported by it. So it's just a vicious circle of crony capitalism or crony politics. So Planned Parenthood, just for your education, was founded in about 1921 by just the strangest woman. She could have been married to Dr. Mengele if he was around then, but Margaret Sanger. So her focus was eugenics and population control. Now, eugenics is what Hitler worked on, which is trying to create a class of people through breeding that would be special and clean as a whisper, blue-eyed looking Germans, just like Hitler tried to do. In her writings, and you can look her up, she called the Negro race an inferior group of people, and she went to preachers in the South and under the table paid them money to have kids and girls that were getting pregnant go to her clinics for health care, right? Well, basically, they went there for sterilization and abortions. It's no coincidence that the abortion clinics in this country of ours are located in Hispanic and black areas. So we've had 56 million babies since 1973. 17 million of those have been black children. That represents 30% of that group. The black population is only 10%. That's 3 times the amount it should be if we went across the ratios of that population. So they targeted black people, and you can look up Margaret Sanger. So Obama, when I talked about infanticide, about letting a baby die after an abortion, as you know, Obama supported that as a state senator when he was in Illinois. And now, of course, he's our president. So the videos, I'll get to the videos. The videos are out. I know they're very difficult to watch. It has been the best thing that's helped the pro-life movement. Unfortunately, they're not great to watch, but it's awakened people on both sides of the aisle to this issue. The videos are real. They're unedited. October 3rd, Fox News announced that a company by the name of Cold Fire Systems, a video company, had gone through them and and authenticated all of the videos. The only video, and Carly Fiorina kind of got into it, and we love her statement, when she showed that video in her ad, which shows a live baby, presumably after an abortion, struggling, and then she says that baby then was dissected alive to get the brain cells. That actual baby was not the baby that the woman in the video, the employee of the abortion clinic, was referring to, because she wasn't able to film the actual baby that she was talking about. So it's like a file film that when you see a rocket go off into Iran and it says file film at the top, but that's the only video that, and it wasn't adulterated, it was just used with a conversation that didn't tie together. So, and the one, Pinocchio, you know, you go to who's got the most Pinocchios this year. Cecil Richards, who's the president of Planned Parenthood, who makes $600,000 a year of our tax money, did finally admit that they do not have mammograms. They forever have said they had mammograms, that they're providing all this great health services for women. They don't own one machine. They refer it to someone else. So they didn't even buy a machine with our tax money. Someone else has got it. So, and she got caught on TV for that. So, anyway, so, and then you want to do the dollar thing. So they're harvesting brain cells and body parts and everything. 1 million brain cells, which isn't a lot of brain cells, because cells are very, very small. They're microscopic. Sell for the same price of a new Ford Fusion, $24,000. Planned Parenthood makes $1,600 in a fee just to transfer that tissue from one place to another. That's their fee. And they need our money to do that. So the world is a rudderless ship right now. America's role as a model for moral clarity is obviously of little consequence in the world. We have fallen to the depths of moral irrelevance. Morals come from the attitude and the virtue of the people, and the laws are but a reflection of that collective consciousness. And right now, for us as a people of virtue, once again, we will have to repent, I feel. I think we really need to get on our knees. We've got a lot to be called to. And the cleansing of the very soul of this country. I think the awakening to this issue and all the issues that Dennis talked about, all the stuff that's going on here, are not going to come from politicians. I truly believe, like it was with the founders in the early 1700s, George Whitefield, it's going to come from the clergy and from the pulpit. It's going to take bold preachers from our houses of worship to stand up and say enough is enough. We don't see it. I mean, look, they're fighting over the Speaker of the House. Can we get on with something more serious than that? Can we get down to these issues that I listed and that Dennis listed and do something about it and take action? We're really running out of time. So I need to tell you why I'm up here, just because I'm some guy that read a bunch of stuff about abortion. I've been part of an abortion. Men, guess what? You're 50% of the equation, whether you like it or not. If that woman decided to go get that abortion and you sat in the seat of that car and said, okay, guess what? You were complicit because you didn't stand up for that woman. I did not do that 35 years ago with a girlfriend. I said, it's not really a baby. Isn't it just a blob? I mean, it's not a baby until it comes out. I mean, Mr. Dumb blew it off. And ever since then, I'll never get to meet that baby. That baby's gone. I had a chance to have a son or a daughter. Could have put it up for adoption. There's so many alternatives now to abortion. I'm reminded of that often, that lack of fortitude of taking a stand for that girl that was trying to continue her pregnancy, but not knowing it was a child. I blew it off. Men tend to think that we're not part of the equation. We need to get men involved, and there's a big push now through pro-life organizations to have men give their testimonies about what is really going on. So the blessing of that tragedy that I went through is that I met my wife in 1982, who I would marry. And as a contributor to an abortion, I would marry a woman who was adopted, a mother who made the choice for life, whose daughter would be my wife. And so that's my little rhyme there. If it wasn't for her mother, I wouldn't be married to my wife today. So for 27 years, my wife and I have been supporting our ministry. It's called Anglicans for Life, and now it's changed to Full Circle of Life. Thanks to Jerry Brown, we're now dealing with end-of-life issues with people, as well as beginning-of-life issues. So how can you help and how can you get involved? We've got information in the back, but I'll quickly tell you as I wrap up here, you can join a pro-life group. There's many groups you can join. If you can't walk or go to a prayer vigil, send them $5. Help our cause. That $5 may go to another videographer so he can go make another film to expose this atrocity. Talk to your pastor, your rabbi, your house of worship. Tell him to speak of life. There is no separation of church issue on this at all. You can speak life. It's in the Bible. It's in multiple verses. You can speak about life, and your pastor should do that if we're going to take a stand for this. This Saturday, we're having a march. The videographer that put on those videos will be in Orange at 770 Tustin Avenue. We're there every Saturday morning with every denomination. The Catholics are all over it because they're so strong on life. They're up there, Anglicans, Presbyterians, non-denominational. We're going to have we'll have probably 300 or 400 people there, plus 1,000 people, my wife says, will be coming. And so please join us. It's a wonderful time to fellowship. You'll run into people you know, I bet for sure. And then contact your government officials. Write a letter. I mean, hopefully a lot of you sent letters to Brown about the assisted suicide. Go to his website. I mean, he was a Jesuit. He was going to be a Jesuit priest. Do you know that he went through the priesthood and was this far from being a priest? And then he signs a bill to let people die, I mean, by assisted suicide? It's just, anyway. So does anybody know who Joel Rosenberg is? Did anybody get to see him at Calvary Chapel when he was here? Okay, he was here in May. Did you see him? Okay, anyway, so you know who he is, and if you don't know who he is, he's written these fabulous books that are fiction, but guess what? They become nonfiction, right? Because he talks about the Middle East. I mean, he actually wrote a book about ISIS before we even knew how to spell it, right? So he's written 7 bestsellers. He spoke at Calvary Chapel, and here's the one note I wrote down. I still have it on my phone. We are on the road to collapse and judgment for the atrocity of eliminating 56 million lives. God's judgment is not going to be great. I don't think he's going to be happy with what we've done. So we can change that because we can make a difference right now. So please let it be known that our pro-life cause is not one of condemnation. Many people, the biggest problem we have is in these new non-denominational churches that have 25 to 40-year-old demographic populations, which means young kids and young families and newlyweds and all that. A lot of those women, 1 in 3 women have had an abortion, you guys, okay? So it's affecting a lot of people. And like 1 in 2 women have been affected by abortion. They've either been the mother to a daughter or they've had a family member. So it's around. We can't avoid it. But we're not condemning. We want to give them forgiveness and healing, and a lot of our ministry is about that because we're looking forward. We want to save another baby. There's alternates. There's adoption, like my wife certainly knows about. There's different places we can go. There's as many babies aborted today as babies that need to be adopted, okay? We could just move this baby from the womb to a new family instead of to a gurney. So anyway, so that's out there. There's plenty of alternatives. I'll close right now. The moral character of a person or a country is the sum of their actions and habits. Will history be favorable when it speaks to our character when it is written? God bless you all. Stay blessed. Thanks. Oh, yeah, any questions? And my wife's here. She's, the female part, so she can talk about that other stuff. So, yes, please.
Are you aware that there's going to be a lot of protests at Planned Parenthood headquarters in various places?
This Saturday.
And all over this Saturday, too?
Bill, with all that he said, Bill did mention there will be a rally this Saturday at many Planned Parenthoods. The one that the producer of the videos from the Planned Parenthood videos will be in the Orange location at Planned Parenthood. I have flyers on the back table. I have many opportunities. Again, and we're just not calling a problem. There's things that we can do. Alternatives are the key. Let's just be positive. Let's not judge one another, but just give women and men alternatives to abortion. But I hope to see you all on Saturday.
770 Tustin. 700 Tustin Avenue. Any more questions, please? Well, you
It's a
would
Planned
get
Parenthood.
off on,
It's a Planned Parenthood, and between the hours of 9 and 11, we'll be just doing a prayer vigil between 9:45, some music, and then we will have guest speakers.
yeah, we walk on the sidewalk in front and try to make a difference. We've stopped babies from getting aborted. Couples have walked in and, no, in Orange, California. So up to 55, there's a flyer in the back, we'll give you directions. So any other questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned the name on Fox News of the organization that verified that these were actual films that were being taken and Planned Parenthood was doing this. I didn't get the name. Would you mention that?
Yeah, sure, I can do that, and I'll give you my business card and give you the website as well. Hang on just a second, and I'll find it. I think it was Coal Fire.
I'm going to intrude. Again, I like to take action. I've got a list of shelters that we can support. You can either answer phones, give a donation. There's also clinics that have ultrasounds. If women see what's inside, then they understand it's not a blob of tissue. They'll make better choices. We need to give them another choice. So I've got this for you. Everyone can get involved.
Yeah, there's the list, and there's even places, Al's nesting place in Long Beach is amazing. This is a pastor that went to his congregation 25 years ago and said, I need to start talking about life. And they said, you talk about life, we're out of here. Lost his church, closed it up, opened a shelter for women, and he takes in not only women that are pregnant, but if they have other children, I'll take in all the kids too. Bring your whole family in. And he's just amazing. We were at his annual fundraiser, and he used to get maybe 70 people at his annual fundraiser. There were 400 or 500 people there. One person donated the entire dinner for the entire crowd. It's that kind of deal. And this guy's gone to jail twice. He said, they really ruined my wingtips. They dragged him, when they dragged him into the paddy wagon, he said, they ruined my wingtips when they did that. Coal Fire. So yeah, as like coal, fire, Systems Inc. You can look them up online. I will give you my business card, and I can get you to the website as well. All right, Wendy Lees.
Sandy and I used to pool our efforts about, 20, 25 years ago to put ads in the Corona Del Mar High School newspaper for pro-life counseling. And I've talked to you about this. Isn't there anything that we can do about the Planned Parenthood on 19th Street and Anaheim and Costa Mesa?
Well, you address that.
We can stand in front of it and share truth. That is a particular Planned Parenthood that does not do surgical abortions. They are giving the RU46, which is devastating to a woman to go home and pass a child. And they never come back. They're supposed to have three checkups, and they don't come back. They could be bleeding. It's a mess. But they do, at 19th Street, do that too.
We did close the one on Birch Street, Newport Beach. That's closed now?
Family planning closed on Birch.
We did have a small answer to prayer, because I passed that one. They painted the whole building, and they didn't put the sign facing 19th Street. It's just on Anaheim, so you really can't see it. But then I noticed they've added this word melody on it, and I got the city to take down their banner. And I complained to the city on Costa Mesa Connect that their banner was up there too long. So do you think that just standing and passing out pamphlets to a pro-life crisis pregnancy center on our own?
Yes, any day of the week. You know, it's 40 days of life is going on right now, but that doesn't mean that we have to stop on the 40th day. You can go out there anytime and we're not stopping anyone from going in. We're not doing what Pastor Al did to get his. What we do is we offer brochures. We offer alternatives. We're going to offer clinics where they can go. Planned Parenthood will not. We pass this out at the clinics. If they pull in and they slow down, we're just waving. If they roll down their window, we'll give it to them. We tell them we have alternatives. We can help you. That's all we do. We don't stop anyone from going in. It is the law. But we just
2 weeks ago, Don Wagner was up there with us. So we've had the politicians are getting the message. Obviously, Carly Fiorina has done it as well. So I really think it's important, and I commend the group on Ted Cruz's endorsement. He's a big pro-life guy as well, so that's a good candidate. So I appreciate that. Lee.
Bill, I want to thank you for your presentation tonight. I fully support you. I liked your presentation when you said enough is enough. And it goes along with what I said tonight, but I'm 100% against Planned Parenthood.
Thanks, Lee. Anything else, you guys? And we'll let this go on. Just go to the back, and Jann can, my wife, it happened at her wedding, too.
I've got a big mouth. Okay. So we're talking about defund Planned Parenthood. We can get out there with our signs, defund Planned Parenthood. And I guess a lot of people say, well, what about the women's health care? There are so many clinics that can help our women that don't offer the abortion. So if my tax dollars can go to another clinic that does not offer abortion, they'll get plenty of money. They'll get money from Hollywood. They'll get their money, but it shouldn't be our tax dollars. Our government is not in the business of abortion. So if we're giving health care for women, let it be for health care, because Planned Parenthood does not have a mammogram machine. I heard Whoopi Goldberg just testify, yes, they do. And I heard Hillary Clinton the other day, oh, yes, they do mammograms. They do not do mammograms. It's a lie.
Just the Cecil Richards, the blonde lady that was testifying, she, denied that those were real videos, that they were manufactured and faked and all that, and, trying to make that her argument that, again, to keep Planned Parenthood going. But you have this group that just came out that you shared. So how did that affect that testimony? I mean, is that something that made an impact?
Well, the Congress is still dealing with it, whether they're going to fund this. It's getting bounced between the Senate and the Congress. They had those hearings. That testimony is on record now, and now all this information's coming out that she lied. That what will happen is it will influence, hopefully, congressmen to see that she actually lied. So, I mean, that's the key to it. Yeah, exactly. So. Thank you. Amen, sister. All right, thank you. Tom, here you go.
I got one last question.
Sir.
There was 6 gay and lesbian activists that protested Scott Piotr. It made the register, and hundreds of people ended up getting involved in that thing at City Hall. If you've got 1,000 people that are going to be there in orange, why isn't that being reported in the register, and why isn't it a big, big deal?
Really good question, but I think half this crowd could answer it. Not that it was a simple question. Is the media is in bed with the liberals and our whole agenda? They don't report on Tea Party events. Why would they report on an abortion event? We've had Telemundo there, and we had the Register and ABC News at our first walk. We're hoping this time, and my wife's going to tell me, of a media group that'll be there?
The first rally, we did have a couple TV stations come. And then when about 700 people showed up at that one site. And then it got a little larger at 1,000. We didn't see any trucks come. It's being banned. It's got a black ball on it by all of Hollywood and all of the media.
So real quickly, the videographer, which if you come, you'll get a chance to talk to him if you want. He is being investigated by our Attorney General in California, by Kamala Harris, and they're trying to ban him from putting his videos out. They're trying to say they were manufactured, blah, blah, blah. So the liberals are going crazy. They don't know how to put this back in the bottle, right? I mean, when your son said, I wasn't drinking, and you found a bottle of beer in his bedroom, he said, it's not mine, right? Right? I mean, I made that up, but right? When the truth hits you straight on, your first defense is either contrition, if you're a godly person, and go, I'm sorry, Dad, will you forgive me, or deny it, right? Liberals deny. That's their game plan. Look at Hillary. She's denying everything. She's a virgin too, right? So come on.
Just for proof, I've got a piece of paper in the back. If you want to leave your email with me, I can put you on a email list, and you can find out when these rallies take place. But the last one was over 1,000 people. And all you can do is take a lot of pictures and just start counting, but I'll send you pictures, okay? It's a wonderful way of standing up for life.
So I'm going to give this back to Tom and wrap this up. January 23rd, I think, is the rally in LA. We went last year, 10,000 people. They expect 20,000 this year. Great walk on a Saturday morning around City Hall, and it was awesome. You had college students from USC. All the pro-life kids were there. And then in San Francisco, I know it's Baghdad by the Bay, and it's as goofy as it gets up there. We had 55,000 in January last year, and I got the honor of giving my testimony in front of that whole crowd of people, which wasn't easy because I had 20 women who gave theirs. I was the one token guy. So anyway, thanks, Tom.
Okay, let's give him a big hand.